Hello, my name is Asif Ramani. I'm a Microsoft MVP from a company called VisualSP, and today I'll be talking about all that you ever needed to know about Microsoft 365 learning pathways. So let's begin. There's an accompanying article on this exact same topic as well, and that article is a pretty long form article, has embedded videos and all the other information you need to know. So if you would rather consume that in the article form, here's a link of exactly how you can get to that. Here's the agenda for this presentation. We'll start by understanding the need for user training and exactly why would you want something like it, and also the common solutions that are in play currently. We'll look at the overview of Microsoft Learning Pathways, exactly what it is, why would you want to use it, the installation, configuration options, exactly how it works, the end user experience, so what do people see once everything is installed and configured, getting users to the Microsoft Learning Pathways content, because if you can't get them there, obviously there's no point in doing any of that, measuring the Microsoft Learning Pathway usage, updating and the roadmap of learning pathways. So how do you keep things updated? How do you configure and install a new version of it? The Better Together partner story of Microsoft Learning Pathways. Microsoft Learning Pathways is an open source solution. It's not a product. And you'll hear me mention this a few times in the presentation, that you can definitely use it as it is deployed directly in your environment. Or you can have a partner build this out for you, or have a product that takes the Learning Pathways content and then deploy that product. So I'll be talking about that story at the end. My name is Asif Ramani. I'm the founder and CEO of VisualSP. I reside in Chicago, Illinois, USA. I've been around the SharePoint community since 2001, in the last few years being very focused on Microsoft 365. I've been a Microsoft MVP since 2007. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to meet thousands of administrators, power users, as well as actual end users in the community. And I've learned a lot through the experiences and try to carry them through in my teaching as well. I've been fortunate to write a few books along the way as well about my teachings. And my current focus with VisualSP, through VisualSP, is how do we use tools and processes to make end users successful at their jobs. Not by training them, but by helping them at their moment of need within their flow of work. And that's what the VisualSP product does. It provides contextual micro-learning to end users in their own flow of work to help them get their job done. There are so many organizations using Microsoft 365 across the world, and the need remains the same. We want our users to feel comfortable and get the best utilization of Microsoft 365 products, whichever the ones we're allowing them, so they can be the most productive in their work, right? So they can do their job. It's not just about the training aspect, it's about getting their job done. So that's the big need. Now, the usual way, we start by building a knowledge portal on SharePoint usually. Put a bunch of videos, documents, links to external content on the portal, and then some of the content could be homegrown or others could be bought in from a vendor. You put it all there, and then you link to that portal and you hope for the best, right? Fingers crossed that people will come because you've built it and they will get trained. That's the usual way of doing things. The challenge with the usual way is that the videos and the other content must be kept updated by you. It's usually one person or a very small team who's actually keeping everything updated, and that's pretty difficult to do. A lot is changing very quickly, so much technology changes, and you need to make sure that everything is kept up to date all the time. That's a pretty big challenge. The solution to the challenge is Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways. It is letting you get out of the whole mode of having to update everything yourself. Microsoft is doing that for you, and all the updates are transferred, pushed directly to your portal where people can consume the content. So let's dig into it. What is Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways? Well, first thing, it's a learning portal. It is created on top of SharePoint as a SharePoint communication site within your own Microsoft 365 tenant. It is providing learning content for end users. That's the focus of the content, end user content. And it's on topics such as OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, and much, much more. The content is automatically updated, curated, and delivered by Microsoft personnel. Once they make the content, they push it out into the update, and it appears into your portal. Your own training content can also be added to this portal. So your own stuff that you're making that you already have, you can add that to this portal as well. Now, keep in mind, it is an open source solution created by Microsoft. So the support is more of a community support. It is not a product. It is a solution that many vendors are also building on top of. You can use it by itself, but it's not possible to create specific support tickets to Microsoft because it is not a product. Okay, so what Learning Pathways is not? Once again, Learning Pathways is not a product. It's an open source solution. Also, Learning Pathways is not an LMS, a learning management system, and Microsoft does not have any plans to go that route. So it won't let you assign courses or track progress, view analytics, things like that. There's minimal stuff of what you can do, but that is not the intent of Learning Pathways. Let's talk about the installation of Learning Pathways. So the prereqs, you need to be a Microsoft 365 tenant admin in order to install Learning Pathways, and an app catalog site must exist. If it's not, then you go ahead and create it. Once you create the app catalog, sometimes it takes about an hour for it to be recognized, and Learning Pathways would install on it. So if you're doing the creation of the app catalog and still not letting you install, just gotta wait for about an hour and it will work after that. The install process itself, I'll just go ahead and go through it quickly here. You navigate first to this URL, provisioning.sharepointpnp.com. You click on the View the Designs link, Solutions, and then Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways. You click the Add to your Tenant button. Read the permissions that you're granting, because it is going to be getting permissions in your tenant. You are hosting it within your tenant. You fill out the form, provide your contact email address, location for exactly where you want the Learning Pathway site, which, as I mentioned before, is going to be a SharePoint communication site, where that's going to be within your tenant. Provide that, and you're good to go. There's a quick 3 minutes video that shows the entire process, exactly how it is. So check out the video at this YouTube address. This is where you start the provisioning process. You go to provisioning.sharepointpnp.com. From here, view the designs, solutions, and you want to click on the Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways. Okay, read all this stuff here. Click on Add to your tenant. At this point, when you do that, see it's saying waiting. It's actually evaluating my tenant and all. And now it's already automatically pulled up my tenant name in this case. And it's given me a choice. I can use this login that I'm already signed in with, or I can have a different email identified here. Choose exactly where I want it to be deployed. Name it. I would suggest leaving it exactly what it is by default, so later it'll be easier when you reference documentation from Microsoft. So you do that, you click on provision, and you go forward from there. The question becomes, once you install it, what the heck is Learning Pathways installing in my tenant? Because obviously it is installing something within your tenant, right? So it's good to know exactly what it's doing. Microsoft Learning Pathways app gets installed in the app catalog. Okay, that's the first thing. And second thing, the SharePoint communications site gets created. Wherever you identify it, you want it to be, it gets created over there within your tenant, and that's going to host all the configuration as well as the content links for Learning Pathways. Now let's talk about some configuration here. Some of the Learning Pathways technology terminology to be aware of here is you have categories like different products. You have subcategories, so such as Outlook, OneDrive, Teams, And then within each subcategory, once you go there, you have playlists. And playlists are the ones that have the actual assets that have the content in terms of videos, articles, and more. Basic configuration of learning pathways. As a tenant admin, you would provide the person in charge of learning and development ownership of the learning pathways site. Usually the tenant admins are the ones who are getting it all installed and then passing on the baton to somebody else who's going to be going from there, right? So make sure you do that. You give them the access. You hide all the navigation elements that you don't want your end users to see, because in the beginning there are going to be things that are more admin perspective stuff, and you want to hide those buttons and the links and some text because you don't want end users to see that specific thing. There's placeholder information. Okay, that's going to require content that's specific to your organization, so you're going to fill that in before inviting users. And if you're not using specific applications, such as if you're not using Yammer, you want to hide Yammer and other things like that, because no point in showing information or content to users that they're not going to have access to. Then at the end, you want to provide everyone access to the Learning Pathways site. That's not how it is to begin with. When you install the site, nobody has access to it. You're providing access to everybody. And then finally, link to the Learning Pathways site to get people access to it, get people there. Okay. There's a video on YouTube on this also, so it shows you exactly how you can make the basic configurations to go through these 6 steps. Short video, I would definitely recommend watching it. When you first get the Learning Pathways site all finished up here, and if you go to share, here it's going to say you're the site owner. There won't be any site members, and there will not be any site visitors either. So this I put in there later. You don't want to put this there until you're ready to give people access to it, obviously, but you might want to give an owner, a different owner, a business user who can actually come in and make changes here as needed. There's stuff in here to go to things you might not want your users to go to, so you can always click on edit and change some of the stuff around here, right? There's also placeholder information. Oh yeah, this also, by the way, you want to probably get rid of that, because the Admin Success Center is good, the button for you, but not really for your users, right? Then there's this events calendar. If you have events, great. If you don't, you want to get rid of all these placeholders. It's just going to confuse people otherwise. No point in doing that. And then as an admin, you can always go to administration, which is from home, Learning Pathways Administration. Now I'm not going to go deep in here because I already have the YouTube video which shows everything, but this is where you can see the categories, the subcategories, the actual playlists, and you can hide stuff here, you can add new stuff here, you can clone. There's a lot of stuff. This is where you do all that. When you're done with all that stuff, you are ready to open it up. You go to Learning Pathways, as I was saying before, share, and you can open it up to everyone. But please make sure that you're ready before you open that up, because it is going to be available to everybody at that point. Let's talk about some advanced configuration. Okay, there are things that you can do, things that you cannot do, and it's good to know what you can and cannot do. You cannot change the order of existing products, subcategories, playlists, and assets provided by Microsoft. It is what it is, exactly in the way it is. That cannot be changed. You cannot add a new asset to a Microsoft playlist. Now that's a bummer, but that's exactly what it is right now, that there's a playlist that already exists and you cannot add new assets, new articles, videos, or whatever you want to existing playlist. You cannot edit nor remove Microsoft provided assets. Okay? So what's already there, if you decide that this particular asset, this particular article, video does not pertain to my need, you cannot remove it from the existing playlist. There is a workaround for this, which I'll mention, but you can't remove that. Okay, here's what you can do. You can create a new subcategory. So if a category exists already on like products was a category, and then just different subcategories for each product, you can create a new subcategory. You can create a new playlist, okay, and existing subcategories and in new subcategories that you create. You can also copy a playlist and then remove or add assets to it. So this is the workaround that I was talking about. Since you can't edit assets into an existing playlist, you can make a copy of that playlist and then you can change around assets as you want, okay? And for this also, there's a short YouTube video. Once again, it's so much easier to show you all these things. So watch the video, quick YouTube video of exactly how you can do advanced configuration like that. Let me give you a quick overview of some advanced configuration features for learning pathways administration. So I'll go in here. All right, so here, see the order the way it is right now, getting started, scenarios, products the way it is. I can't change that. It is the way it is and it will remain like that. Same thing if I say, you know what, I want to maybe OneDrive to come first and then after that Word, Excel. Nope, can't do that either. And then also, let's see, if I go into a playlist, this is a playlist and it has all these assets, great. Then I wonder to myself, how will I add an asset over here? Well, can't do that either. Now this is where the workaround I was talking about, you can copy the playlist, and then once you copy the playlist, it just becomes its own entity, and there you can add or remove assets over there. But you can't manage or change assets in here, which is owned by Microsoft, and they're the ones controlling it and updating it. A lot more information about what I'm just saying here is available in the YouTube video as well. End user experience, exactly what the end users see. So let's talk about some learning pathways terminology specifically from the end user perspective. They will see each of these tiles like that for each product: Teams, SharePoint, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. They click on one of them, they'll get to see all the different playlists that exist. Okay, so for OneDrive would be OneDrive Quick Start, Intro to OneDrive, etc. When they click on an actual playlist, then they see the asset, the learning unit, and that asset is where all the actual content would be hosted. It could be any type of content also. It could be videos, it could be animated images, regular images, textual content, tables, whatever you want it to be. It's just a page of information. That's what an asset is. Now, digging into the asset a little bit more, what do they see when they see an asset? Let's talk about that. When you're looking at an asset, as I mentioned, it is a page. You can have anything on that page. The way it is by default, let me show you over here. You have previous button, next button to go from one asset to the next. That's the navigation. The other navigation is the breadcrumb trail right here, right? And then there's a drop down right there. You can, as a user, click on the drop down and go to any asset, any article from one to the other. Full screen, this guy right here, you click on that, it becomes full screen. So you can dig into an actual asset. Okay. They can also search assets, like it says, by clicking on this. They can also link to a specific asset. Okay, so this is the link symbol right there. Now, pretty important that they can't just go to the URL that's showing up in the browser and send that to a colleague. That would not provide the link to the asset, unfortunately. That's kind of weird, I know, but that's how it is. That you have to do this again over here, that you have to click on this link, and then you have to, or this link icon, then send that link to a colleague. Very important to remember. That's called deep linking. Instead of just taking the URL, you have to click on that and then send that. Not very intuitive, unfortunately, but that's just the way it's architected. Okay. And then lastly, and this is unfortunate, that there's this symbol, the settings symbol. If the user clicks on this settings symbol, it will just tell them that, hey, you don't have admin rights to be here. Okay, so you can choose to use CSS or something to maybe just hide the symbol altogether. That's what I would recommend. Because users will eventually click on it and they'll be disappointed. So it's better to hide that. There's no built-in capability to hide it, unfortunately, but use some CSS or some other method to hide it is my is my opinion. Okay, so from the end user's perspective, they start their journey visiting the Learning Pathways site. You send them there through email, through instant message, link on your site. Somehow they get to the Learning Pathways site. Then they navigate to the training page, the main training page, which has all the different tiles for the products. They click on a product, click on a playlist, click on an asset, right? Then, of course, the navigation, as I showed earlier, they can navigate back and forth, search different assets that they're looking for. Some of the caveats to be aware of: the browser back and forward buttons don't work as expected. So if they get to an asset, they say, okay, well, I want to go to the other asset I just was at before. They click on the back button. It will take them to the product page instead of the other asset. That's a bummer, but that's just how it works in Microsoft Learning Pathways. They would have to use the previous and next button to go back and forth from assets. So that does require some training for them to understand. Now, linking to specific assets, that also needs to be learned, and it's not logical, unfortunately, in my opinion. I mean, you have that deep linking link that I was showing before. You can't just take the URL. So that's a caveat to be aware of. There's also a video that I've created on this as well, and it shows exactly what the end user's perspectives are when they're going through learning pathways. Okay, so I would suggest definitely watching this video so you understand what your end users will be experiencing, where there are potentials for frustration, so you can communicate that information ahead of time before the frustration happens. End users would start here. They would go to Microsoft 365 training here, or from here. On this main landing page, they would see all the different products you've made available. The way these products icons, these tiles are placed, that cannot be changed, but some of them can be hidden if you wanted them to be hidden. But they would go into one to start. For example, let's say Microsoft Teams. They would go into the specific one they want to see. For example, manage meetings, that's the playlist, and automatically goes to the first one. Okay, and here's all the different assets in this playlist. So most of these assets have a video component. Oh, it's not going away if I'm clicking anywhere else. So I would have to click here to make it go away. A bit of a nuisance, but there are some things like that that you would need to prepare users for. Anyway, what I was saying is there's a bunch of these that have assets, that have videos, and then they have information underneath it, like so. To navigate here, they can use a breadcrumb. They can use the drop down, as I was saying. They can use a full screen to make it full screen, previous, next, like that. They can search for assets. Then there's more stuff here. One thing to remember, if I wanted someone to come to this particular asset, let's say maybe this one, tip meet in a channel, I can't just go up and take the URL in this case. Okay, so I can't, let me just bring the URL down. So this is the URL right here. I can't just take that. If I send them here, let me click on this. This is where they're going to end up. They're just going to go to the main page, and that's frustrating for any user, I'm sure. So let me just go into Word, Playlist, get back into an asset. Yeah, you need to click on this thing right here, get a deep link for it, which is, I know it's not intuitive, unfortunately. You click on copy and then you send this to someone. So that's how it works. A bit of a bummer, but that's how it is. Search, you can click on search, search for things. Let's say go back to Teams, and there's a bunch of stuff here. Not the best looking, but you know, it does the job. Collaborate in Teams, and here it is. I get over there. This icon should really never have been there, but it is for users. Try to hide it if possible. For your end users using CSS or something, because it is going to frustrate them. They try to go there, and because I'm an admin here, I can go to the admin screen like that. But for a user, they'll just end up on a page that's going to say you don't have access, which not a great experience once again. So yeah, some of these things keep in mind. The YouTube video that goes much deeper, you should definitely watch that so you understand exactly how the users will feel. What they'll see, what they will not see. That way, it's going to be, you know, there won't be any surprises when someone complains or someone says anything that, hey, I can't do this, or why can't I do that? So you'll know what the answer is. a very important thing, obviously, is to get people to the Learning Pathways site. If you don't get them there, then what's the point of doing all that? So you can link to the site from your site navigation top link bar. So any site collection, you can just go ahead and say, all right, let me just link to the Learning Pathways site. That's one way. You can also do a featured link on the SharePoint page. So the SharePoint home page, you can, just like it shows over here, say, hey, Microsoft Learning Pathways, that's how you get to it. You can also encourage folks to bookmark the site. And I encourage that specifically because when they're not in SharePoint, let's say they're in Planner or Stream or OneDrive or something, there's not any links over there that you can control, or at least most of these places. So if they have this as a bookmark in their browser, then it's much easier for them to just go to the bookmark. So highly encourage folks to make it as a bookmark in browser the old-fashioned way, but it does work. Deploying Learning Pathways on other sites. You have a SharePoint communication site. Great. But what if you want to have the same kind of assets on a different site? Well, you can add Microsoft Learning Pathways app to your site, a different site. Okay. It's an actual web part that you can deploy, but first you need to add the app that exists, and then you can deploy the Learning Pathways web part. So it is a couple of step process over here. And then if you choose to, you can customize the web part as needed to show all the products, show single product, single playlist, single asset, whatever you want. And obviously there's a video that I've created to show you all that as well. Here's a link to it so you can see exactly how you can deploy Learning Pathways on other sites, step by step. Visuals are very important, and that's why this video is created. So this functionality that you have on the Learning Pathways site, you might want this type of training, these tiles and stuff like that, to be on a different site within another SharePoint site, right? Your departmental site, regional site, or something like that. Well, that's not available right away. You actually have to add the app, which makes it possible, then add this web part, and then configure the web part if you want it to show it differently. What I mean by that is well, let me go to a different site first. So if I go to Executive Corner, okay, so that's a different communications site altogether. This one, let's go to different pages, see what we got. Let's go to this page, Singapore Building Update, whatever that is. I'll go to Edit, and my intention is that I want to add a web part, and that's the Learning Pathways web part. That is the web part that's making it all possible. Not there. So as I was saying, in order to add the web part here, I would have to first go add an app. Site settings, add an app. Here I would have to find Learning Pathways. It should be available because it is available on all sites. It's just not deployed. You would have to deploy it. I won't go into that right now, but you would have to deploy that. Once you deploy it, then you can add the web part. And once you add the web part, then there's a few different options to configure the web part. So then you can show all the different products. You can also show a specific playlist, a specific asset. There's multiple things you can do. And if you're looking for that detail, you want to understand exactly how it all is going to look, the different options, I would suggest watching my YouTube video, which shows all these things in a lot more detail. Okay, usage reporting of the whole thing. If you don't know exactly who's using it, how they're using it, then hey, that becomes very difficult, obviously, to understand if it's being useful or not. How do I know if Learning Pathways is helping my users? That's the big question. Usage reporting is available for the SharePoint communication site that hosts Learning Pathways, right? So for that particular site that you're sending people to, your learning portal, basically, there are usage reporting for the site itself. Please keep this in mind. I'm saying that it's the usage reporting for the site itself. You'll know which links or pages people are linking to and navigating to. It won't be about Learning Pathways specifically, but since it is a Learning Pathways site, the usage reporting of the site will tell you the usage reporting of Learning Pathways. Okay. It does just show generic information such as number of unique viewers, site visits, site traffic insights, type of devices used to navigate to the site, pages most viewed. So that's the only stuff that comes out of the box. There's a video, obviously, I've created using showing that as well. Usage reporting options available for learning pathways. So this is going to be right out of the box exactly what's available and what's not available. There's no separate module for learning pathways usage reporting. So since this is a SharePoint communications site that is hosting learning pathways, all you can do to find out usage for this is you would go to site usage. Okay, so from site settings, site usage. Once you're in site usage, you would basically see the usage of this site, which should more or less correlate to the usage of learning pathways content and navigation and all, because that's the only thing that's hosted here. But if you're looking for something really elaborate and furthermore assignments to people, and if they've done these assignments or tracking of that more like an LMS, that's not here. That's not learning pathways. So going to the top again, unique viewers, site visits, site traffic, exactly when people are coming and viewing stuff, popular platforms. Of course, keep in mind that this is just a demo site, so there's not too much happening here, but you would definitely see a lot of content here. It's just that it would not be the type of a learning portal type of content or usage statistics that you would see in a learning portal or a learning management system or learning experience system or something like that. Okay, so that's it basically for usage. I do a little bit of a deeper dive in the YouTube video in which I explain each of these things, but more or less this is it. For the admins, they'll need to know how to keep things updated for learning pathways. Let's talk about that. For updating learning pathways, you have first the content, and the content is updated automatically on a quarterly basis, usually by Microsoft. So you can look at the content that's being updated. You can go to the Home Adoption Tools. That's an actual, as it says over here, you can go to Microsoft 365 Learning, Admin Success Center. Then from there you can see that what's new, what's changed. So it's that itself. Let me just point to that. That's an actual article right there. So you're starting from Home, Adoption Tools, Admin Success Centers, and then you can see what's new, what's changed. An asset for you to see. So that's the content part of the update. For the software part of the update, the application has to be updated manually as you wish. Okay, so for that you would need to go to the SharePoint communication site that's holding the learning pathways. From there you go to Site Contents, Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways, and then click on Details. And then once you click on Details, on the Details page, if you see a Get It button, that means a new version is available. You click on it and you get it. Okay. If it's not available, you will not see that button. Simple as that. Since Microsoft Learning Pathways is an open source solution, many vendors have actually built solutions using the Learning Pathways content and or functionality to make it an even better story. So the better together, Microsoft's partner story. Building on top of Learning Pathways, you're making it into a product. So taking it, the actual open source solution, and making it into a product is what vendors do. Right? You take the content, take the product, make it into a complete story. VisualSP, that's our company, is also one of those partners that take the best of the Learning Pathways content and makes the story complete with analytics, with better controls and everything else that's needed to enhance the solution, the open source solution. So let me talk to you about how VisualSP plus Microsoft Learning Pathways content becomes a better story, a better together story for clients around the world. You already have for Microsoft over 700 videos and articles being shipped. That's wonderful, and they're keeping it updated. That's great. And the ability to customize and create the content is there. I did mention that there are some caveats. There are some limitations of exactly how you can edit, what you cannot edit. That edit experience gets enhanced tenfold with VisualSP, so it's much easier in centralized manner to edit the content, to create new content, to enhance content. And in addition to that, you can also deliver the content, the learning pathways content, in context to the user's environment. So when they're looking at OneDrive, they get content about OneDrive. When they're looking at Planner, they get content about Planner. Everything becomes completely contextual. It's contextual micro-learning for the end user. And the analytics of the content usage throughout all the applications, anywhere learning pathways is being used, it all comes together, and analytics are provided in one place by using VisualSP and learning pathways content. And there's also security trimming of content you can do. So when they're looking at a SharePoint site, let's say, and they are a contributor, they'll see contributor content. If they have full control, they'll see all the content, including how they can set up security and all. So they'll see training content for that. If they're not full control, they won't see security content. So it's completely security trimmed. And last but definitely not least, full customer service support. So if there's anything wrong that you see in the content, the product, you can open up tickets with VisualSP and be able to get serviced for that. So it's not an open source solution. With VisualSP and learning pathways, it becomes a complete product. Okay, so that's how VisualSP delivers Microsoft Learning Pathways and enhances it, to a much higher level by making it into a complete product and a supported solution. Let me show you some visuals of what Learning Pathways content delivered in context looks like. So let's say you're in Microsoft Teams, in this case the Microsoft Teams web version. You see the panel on the right that comes up right there, right? So this panel, and it shows all the Learning Pathways content directly delivered within, on top of Teams. So you don't have to go somewhere to get information, to get help for Teams. It's right there. Same thing happens, the same experience happens for SharePoint. Just like that, the panel is there, and now it's showing you content that's relevant, help content that's relevant for SharePoint. For example, creating a page, exploring your team site, adding or removing a news post, stuff like that. OneDrive, when they're there, now the content has changed. Same Learning Pathways content, but now contextually delivered. Things like turning on your backup, creating files and folders, things like that. So everything becomes much more to the stuff that you need as an end user at your moment of need, contextually delivered to you in your flow of work. Also for Microsoft Teams, the desktop edition and the mobile edition, that you get content, same exact content, the Learning Pathways content delivered through the left rail. So see, here's a VisualSP button right there. When a user clicks on it, all the content that's there from Learning Pathways is right there. So it's showing, in the beginning it would show Microsoft Teams content because you're in Teams, but you can use the drop down here like that to see any content, let's say Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Yammer, whatever you have been given access to. All that stuff would be right there, and you click on any of them and the content would pop up and show you the video, the asset, whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're intrigued and would like to see exactly what VisualSP plus Microsoft Learning Pathways looks like, check out this short YouTube video, and this will show you exactly how Learning Pathways content and contextual delivery can be used to provide the best value to your users. So with the Learning Pathways communication side, you have to send people here. They have to come to this page, click on whatever they're looking for example, OneDrive, and then go from here to, let's say, Quick Start, and then go to the actual asset like that. Then they can zoom and they're reading it and all. The idea to deliver the exact same content contextually is when they're inside OneDrive. So this is OneDrive. They're here. They would see a tab from VisualSP. Automatically is just always there. It says OneDrive help, and depending on wherever application they're on, it's going to say that application name's help. And they click on OneDrive help. Same content, for example, upload files is right here. You click on it and upload files is right there. Exact same way, let me show you one other example. So if I'm in Learning Pathways site, here I would have to go to, okay, I'm looking for planner help, go to planner, look for the exact thing I'm looking for. For example, how do I use planner? And there's stuff here, right? So the same content is once again delivered contextually. When I'm in planner, let me go to planner. Now it says planner help. So I click on this as a knowledge worker, and here you go. Exact same stuff, exact same content, but now it's contextually available when I'm in planner, when I need it. So same stuff right here and right there. Very quick to come up. And that's the contextual delivery of this content. Now, if you're looking for some additional content, you go up here and say, I'm looking for some, for example, Teams content. Okay, well, this is good, but I'm looking for more. So let me click on Search All Help Items, and it will show me the content here for Teams. For example, create and organize Teams, add tabs to Teams. I click on this, and I see the content right here. So easy way for me to search, and it will show me all the content here that I'm looking for, or see the contextually available content right there when I'm in the application. Works the same way if I go to a different site, for example, SharePoint. Now it says SharePoint help. It's got all the content for SharePoint specifically. Go to Stream. Now it says Stream help. And once again, the same content, and it's for all Stream. So that's how it's contextually delivering all the content directly within the flow of work at the moment of need for the user. As far as the Learning Pathways usage metrics are concerned, while in the Learning Pathways communication site, you just get the metrics for whatever the usage is for the site itself. Just this rudimentary stuff here. In VisualSP for Learning Pathways, you go to the tab, VisualSP tab, you go to the menu, click on View Analytics, and here you would see all the different metrics based on all different applications, such as clicks by application, where exactly are people clicking. You can download this data as well. You can see it in chart, pie graph mode, line chart. You can see exactly which browsers they're using. So if there were more browsers, it would show up here. Clicks by viewer media type, what type of media they're looking at. Banners, web pages, walkthroughs, videos, all kinds of stuff. Clicks by different users, and for each user also you can always expand to see exactly which particular content items, which particular learning pathway items they're looking at. So it shows up like that. There it is. Okay, then going down here, clicks by URL, exactly which URL the clicks are happening at for different help. What are people looking at? Clicks, the actual clicks by help item. And if you want to dig in from here also, you can see who's searching or looking for the search in planner. You can expand here and it will show the users. That over here. And then last but not least, you will see the different searches there. What are people actually searching for, and looking for help on. So all these analytics are available in VisualSP for Learning Pathways and any other content that you create yourself, because VisualSP is completely customizable. In addition to all this content here, you can always enable edit mode and start making your own help content. And that help content can be in the form of anything you want it to be. Announcement banners, videos, walkthroughs, YouTube videos, or any other kind. All you gotta do is pick that and set some configuration, and that's basically it to make your own custom help items. In addition to creating new items, you can change the existing ones as well. So let me close this here, go to one of these, for example, create and share files in a library, edit, and you'll see exactly how it's configured currently. You can change the title, the actual content in this case. You can have a different video or different artifact showing. You can do all sorts of stuff here, including automatically showing it if you want it, for example, for the first time when someone comes to a page. There's actual specific targeting you can do for all different types of lists and libraries and everything else. If you wanted to have it show up on a document library automatically, you can target that. URL filtering, and then also permission trimming. So I currently have it. If you can see, let me expand this, show selected only. If you have add list items right, only then you will see this particular help item, this particular learning item. Okay, and you can change that here as well. So a lot of stuff you could do if you wanted to. A lot of power to be able to give people exactly the content they need, appropriate to their needs and according to their security level. Some call to action. There's information about Microsoft Learning Pathways at this link. Check that out. Get deeper understanding of exactly what's provided before you get into it, would be my recommendation. If you'd like to get started with VisualSP for Learning Pathways for free, there is a free version of it, visualsp.com/learning-pathways. VisualSP is an official partner of Microsoft Learning Pathways, so check that out and see exactly how that works. You can connect with me if you have any questions about any of the stuff that I've presented today. Here's my Twitter handle @AsifRahmani and my email address asif@visualsp.com. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.